Hello ladies and gentlemen, Xcentauri here, and welcome back to another YouTube video. Now I hope all of you are doing well today, because I am as always, and in this video I'll be showing you guys some of the best routes you can literally fly in pretty much any mobile flight simulator or PC simulator or simulator like proper simulator. So basically these are just routes which I thought are pretty good, pretty cool, they've got some good scenery, and I think they're fun. So let's get right into it. Now, the first route I want to show you requires the Airbus A320. Now, it is worth noting these routes are all limited, sometimes to what aircraft you can fly, so it's worth noting. But it requires the Airbus A320 in the Swiss Airlines livery. And your departure airport is Zurich, so we can just, come and find Zurich here in info flight. And there are quite a few routes out of Zurich you can fly in the Airbus A320 to various places across Europe. So there is a wide variety of destinations I would say you can fly to. I think the A320 has a lot of opportunity as well for different destinations within Europe. If you're looking for some cool places to be flying, okay. So the Airbus A320. Now, if the flight hurry ups and loads, I can show you guys the route. Here we go. It looks a bit cool here today. So your flight. So this is the flight I'm recommending. It goes from Zurich and it goes to not only London, but the mighty London City. Now, I'm pretty sure they fly their Airbus A320s there. I know they definitely fly them to Heathrow because I've seen it take off from Heathrow. But I think London City Airport has its own special approach. It's a steep approach. It's hard. It's not easy. So you can just see here from example from the these are the stars, aren't they, for the approach. You can just see from that one, for example, how awkward it is to be landing there. Now, this flight will only take you just under about 2 hours. You realistically only got to fly over France, a little bit Germany, and then across the Channel. So it's not an awfully long flight. So it's a pretty nice little flight you can be doing, but it's definitely one I would recommend. You can also fly to London Heathrow, like I said. Now, the next flight, obviously, departs from England now. So we're going to use, I'm just got to find the Jet, is it Jet 2? That's it. So this is a Jet 2 flight. Now, I'm not too sure if this is a realistic flight. I am just going off of my memory. I'm pretty sure EasyJet might fly this route. But departing from Manchester Airport, and from Manchester, you can fly to so many places with Jet 2. Because I'm pretty sure Jet 2 fly to Manchester quite a bit. Now, obviously, with Jet 2, you'll be flying to many holiday places, but the specific place I've chosen for this video is Gibraltar. Now, I'm not too sure, again, guys, try not to slate me if I've used the wrong liveries or anything today in this video, but this flight takes you just about 3 hours maximum. I generally do it in about 2, and it's a lovely flight. Or if you're not feeling that and you're feeling a longer flight, you can go to Gran Canaria over here, or the Tenerife, I believe, is like one of these or something. So there's Venture, I've never been able to say that, and then there's Tenerife there, and it's always good fun flying to those airports as well. So I'd always recommend any of those 4 airports there. They're all great places to be flying, especially when you're flying in a holiday airline such as Jet 2, especially departing from somewhere such as cool as Manchester, because it's such a nice airport. Just here you can look at it. Manchester's quite a nice, it's not a tiny airport, and it's quite good size of a place to be departing from. So I definitely recommend if you're departing. And fun fact, you see the little motorway there going along? I was on that motorway maybe 2 months ago. Didn't get to stop plane spot, but I've been on that motorway. So yeah, that is the recommended route with Jet 2. Okay, so the next one, we're going to require a Boeing 747. So we're going to find the 747. I think it's the 400, and it's Cathay Pacific. Now, I'm pretty sure this wasn't an actual route flown by Cathay Pacific. But, who doesn't need to go, flying to Australia? You must do it in flight simulators. And if I'm going to recommend a route, I will guarantee it's from Australia. And this one goes from Sydney. Now, when you depart in Sydney, you can fly to lots of different places over Australia. And whenever I fly to Australia, I always like to fly over Ayers Rock. I think it's quite an important place to be flying over. So it will definitely be one of the places we fly over. And oh my gosh, this is a really tight fit. Wow. I mean, I'm glad the aircraft fits. So Ayers Rock isn't our actual destination, but it's Yay, I think, Ayers Rock. Yeah, so normally I'd fly over there. So I know that my aircraft can't land there. I'd normally fly along Australia and then up. Now, obviously, you can guess we're going to Hong Kong. Now, you can either fly to Hong Kong Airport itself, so that's the current airport in Hong Kong, or you can fly to Kai Tak. Now Kai Tak, we don't have the procedures for it, but basically I've been over it in a few videos, but this is the route you generally take as long as you go over the Stonecutter there and then obviously onto the airport like that. Now that is an essential one you do. Now you can fly to either airport. Kai Tak is the airport I'm recommending, but it's generally quite cool to fly over Ayers Rock. It's basically a giant rock, but it's massive, so for those of you that can't see it, of course it will add probably an extra hour or two to your flight, but I think it's really cool because then up here you get to fly over well, by the Philippines. You've got all of Indonesia and all of the cool islands up here as well. So again, I think that is a fabulous and a really cool route to be flying. Now the next route we've got is a 787-900. If the livery in the United, and they have, this is again a really long route. This one, it's a pretty cool route, but it's a long route, and we're going to be departing from Newark Airport. So we're going to find Newark, and I'm pretty sure the A350 ultra long haul Singapore Airlines livery works for this. That's JFK. There's Newark. And this route is a particularly fun one. I love flying in and out of Newark. I think it's such a lovely airport to be at. I've flown there in real life as well. I've been there IRL when I went to America a few years ago. Very lovely place. And Newark isn't 3D. Now that is a shock to me. I thought Newark was 3D in Infinite Flight. How interesting. So it's a 787 and you're going to fly to the mighty Singapore. I sort of already blew it when I said Singapore Airlines flight. Singapore's all the way over here, and this is literally the only airport you can fly to. Now I don't think the flight operates from JFK, but I mean by all means, if you want to fly it from JFK, go for it. This is a very long flight. We're talking like 16 hours long or something. It is a long flight, and not something you really want to be doing for a long time. If you're worried about, or you want to use your mobile device for other things, then maybe that's not the flight, but it is a great flight and I would definitely recommend it. So the next route we got requires the Airbus A340. Now, it's the South African Airways. I'm not too sure if South African Airways still, operate it, but I'm pretty sure they still fly a few A340s. But it goes from Cape Town, South Africa. Now, it's not a massive airport, this one. I've flown there a few times, and I've done this route a few times. It's quite a popular route for quite a lot of people, and I like this route personally. But yeah, I haven't really been here recently. I've definitely not flown there in a few years, that's for sure, and I haven't been there this summer, surprisingly. I thought I would have, but obviously I haven't. And here we go. So the aircraft is a little bit too big for the gate. We'll probably have to find a smaller gate for it, but the A340 is such a nice aircraft, I feel, and it's just quite iconic. And you can actually fly to anywhere in Europe, because this is again another long flight. We'll give you some short ones in a second, but it's such a good place to fly to London Heathrow when departing from Cape Town, but you could also go to somewhere like Paris instead. There's Frankfurt, Brussels, Amsterdam, Berlin, I think that is. There's quite a few you can do. You could go to Madrid, and there's also Rome. So like all of these big major European airports, all within the same area. Obviously you're not going to fly the route I've just plotted out. I've written like big giant Z, that's quite cool. But yeah, I definitely would recommend flying into the mighty Europe. So South Africa to Europe, you get to fly across the whole of Africa. Crazy different scenery. Literally every country is so unique, especially when you fly across it in Infinite Flight. I believe it's not just some like plain white area. Now, next flight we use the Airbus A321, and I saw this plane take off, and this exact route with the Turkish Airlines, I saw it fly a few days ago. I believe they were departing Gatwick, because I went past it on the train. So Gatwick's going to be our little spawn location, and there's quite a few places you can fly from Gatwick, especially with Turkish Airlines. There's about 4 or 5 Turkish destinations, such as Izmir, Antalya, Istanbul, not Ankara. So here we are. Where is Istanbul? We have gone way past Turkey. So this flight actually went to Antalya, which is here, and that is the route I would be recommending. Now, of course, like I said, you can always go to, I think this one's Izmir, so you can go to Izmir, or you can go to LTAC, which is Ankara, or the big airport we now have being here in central Turkey, the new Istanbul airport. So that looks, again, pretty cool. So it's some really cool routes here. especially with the A321. Now, the A330 again is another lovely thing. This thing does not get much use, so there are so many different airlines you can use on here: Swiss, Turkish, Virgin Atlantic. Now, Virgin Atlantic is again the next route we're doing, and we're going to go from London Heathrow, and we will be crossing again to the United States. Now, I'm not too sure where the Virgin Atlantic destinations are in the United States. I know they fly to New York. I'd imagine they fly to Boston and Washington and that. But basically, I'm going to recommend a few airports where you can fly from London Heathrow to. They might not be correct, but again, realism isn't always the biggest priority here as a flight simulator user. So we're going to start off at the top. Airports I would fly to. So we've got JFK. I forgot Boston. There's Boston. There's Philadelphia. And this is Washington. I think that's the main Washington airport up there. And then I don't really think they fly any much south to Miami. Now, in itself, there is one more route that I want to show you. That's just a really popular route. Everyone will know the route I'm probably on about. But we need a KOM 747. Let's take the 2015 livery. It looks a bit cooler. Obviously, we want to go from Eham, the mighty Amsterdam airport. And we're just going to spawn in here. And this route, I think it's now retired by the 747. I think it's run by a 787 now. Or potentially a 777. But I think the 747 is your best bet for this. Because it's just such a nice aircraft. And I don't actually know exactly where the airport in the Caribbean is. I think it's TNCM, St. Martin. Yes, this is it, the perfect airport. And you want to be landing on runway 10. Now, this is exactly the one some of you might be thinking about, but there's an airport where there's photos of 747s literally landing right after a beach, and that is the route, and it's flown by this 747 itself. So that is a lovely thing. Now, I don't remember these buildings here being here at Amsterdam Airport. They must be new. That's weird. But yeah, if you did find any of these routes helpful, please let me know down below. And if you did enjoy, please like and subscribe. And other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Good night.
Find your way.